folks. Sorry, I'm late.
Hi.
Okay, guys. Good to go.
Andy, how much are you looking forward to this World Cup qualification process that is very short but begins now?
Yeah, I think when a campaign starts, there's always excitement as to what lies ahead. This one's no different. We've done really well in the Euro campaigns. I think our last World Cup campaign was a really good one in terms of the group stages. Obviously, the playoffs then became a disappointment, but I think when we look back on our last three campaigns in terms of qualifying, they've been, really good. So we have to try and take that into these ones. Like you said, it's quite a short one that it's mad to think it will be over in November. And there's only 6 games and it's a competitive group, and we know getting off to a good start's crucial, and hopefully we can do that, and then, it stands us in good stead for the next 2 international breaks.
Given that, then, would it be fair to say there's not a lot of margin for error?
I think all the teams in the group will be probably saying similar. I think, obviously there's only 6 games. Like you said, there's not much margin for error. It's going to be over dead quick, and so it's up to us to try and capitalise on that, to try and get the results that we need. Nobody knows how many points you'll need, how many wins, how many draws, whatever else, but all we can do is try and compete in every single game, pick up the points that we believe we need, and if we do that, then hopefully it's enough come November or come March if we get a playoff.
Last time you played here, you were playing in an unusual position given the COVID situation, but what was it going to take tomorrow for Scotland to get a positive result?
Yeah, I think we need to get back to what we're good at. I think obviously March was a bit of a difficult one because we had one really good result and one result that was hugely disappointing at home, and then obviously in the summer, the home game was really disappointing. We need to get back to just working as a unit, trying to be difficult to beat, but also trying to cause problems to the other team. So we're going to need that tomorrow night. We've been here before. We know that the Danish fans create a fantastic atmosphere. They always get right behind their team and create incredible noise, which the last time we were here, certainly the players reacted off that and put in a really good performance, especially in the first half. And then it probably took us to the second half to settle down, and the damage was probably already done, even though the second half we'd done a lot better. So it's up to us. We need to try and get off to a good start, and then try and build into the game, and hopefully we can do that, and also cause them problems as well. And if we can do that, then we believe we can get a positive result.
It's still early in the season, but how difficult or awkward a situation has it been not playing as many minutes as you're used to?
Not been awkward. I don't think awkward's the right word. I think it's been difficult for different reasons. Like you said, I'm used to playing pretty much every game. I've had 8 years at Liverpool where I was, apart from obviously the very start, I was always the starter. I was always playing, and now the first 3 games, I've obviously found myself on the bench, which is what it is. I had time to think over the summer as to what I wanted. I made the decision, and I still believe that if I keep doing what I'm doing, then I'll play a lot of games for club and country, and that's my main focus this season. My main focus is, when called upon, to produce as well as I can for Scotland and to produce well as I can for Liverpool, and hopefully I can look back in the summer that I'm heading to a World Cup and I've maybe got a couple more trophies in my back pocket as well.
What were those thoughts over the summer like? Was it tough? Was it difficult? What was it like over the summer to discuss something like that? Yeah,
it was difficult. It was the first summer ever that I've probably had to think about my future. It's always been nailed on as to where I'm going to be and what my position looks like. So for the first time, I probably had to consider different things, and I did that with my family, and ultimately we came to the conclusion that our hearts were still at Liverpool, and it was a decision to stay, and we committed to that, and it's one that I don't regret. It's one I'm happy about. And in pre-season, in the close season, I've worked probably harder than I ever worked. In the pre-season, I've came back in really good shape, felt strong, felt really good in pre-season. I think I showed that in training and games, and obviously, the start of the season is always a bit difficult. I think, there's only a game week to week. Obviously, we've got off to a really good start, but we've 3 out of 3. So, from a manager's perspective, there's not much reason to change anyone's position, really. And I think when we get back, we have, pretty much 3 games every week from, this the Saturday or the Sunday we get back until, the next international break. So, I'm sure there will be a bit more rotation. Whether it happens in my position, that's yet to be seen. None of us can look in the future, but I believe I've done everything I can to be in the manager's thoughts, and that's all I can do.
Just on this group, how do you assess it? I think there is that general feeling of Greece, Denmark, and Scotland. They're all going to be tight and taking points off each other. Do you share that sort of idea that it's going to go right down to the wire?
Yeah, I think every pot, it's a really difficult team. I think even pot 4 Belarus, it's not going to be an easy game. It's they're a difficult team to play against, and we've obviously played against Greece recently, which we know how difficult they are. We know they're a kind of up-and-coming team that have got, good talent, young talent as well. And, Denmark, I think, over the last, good few years have shown, how to consistently be a kind of pot 1 team of qualifying for every tournament and competing in every tournament as well. And, they've had a fantastic run at it, and, they're a really good nation, a really good team to look at. And it's going to be difficult, but we also believe on our day that we can be difficult to play against. I think we've shown that over, the last few years, and if we do that, then, like we say, we believe that we grow confident in games and in campaigns, and if we can do that, then, hopefully we can achieve what we want to achieve.
And you talk about the kind of the noise throughout the summer, but you obviously lost one of your teammates in the summer as well. The emotion of that, does that kind of put things into perspective of what's really important in life?
Yeah. The most difficult thing we'll ever go through. Such a surprise, such a shock, devastating for his family first and foremost, but obviously devastating for us as a group of lads. And yeah, obviously football, I don't think anyone could care less about football when things like that happen. It puts life into perspective as to what's important, spending time with your family, spending time with your kids, because you never know what's round the corner. And yeah, it's the toughest thing, like I says, we'll ever be through. Losing one of your closest mates for me was hugely difficult, and yeah, it's something we'll probably never get over, but it's just something that we have to carry with us. We have to carry the memories we've got with him with us, and as long as we continue to do that, then he'll always be in our thoughts, he'll always be in our hearts, and yeah, that's all we can do.
Did that almost influence your decision, Andy, because you start to realise what's important in life?
It didn't influence my decision. The decision was already made before. Obviously the tragedy. But I knew then, in that moment, I knew that the club needed me in that moment as well. I know I'm one of the leaders in the team. I've obviously been made vice captain now, and it's going to take a lot this season. I know football was irrelevant, but we take football out of it. Even as lads in the change room, we're all going to need help during the season. We've already had difficult moments in terms of first time in front of fans. Having to go to your teammate's funeral, which is absolutely madness to even say, and everything else that followed after it. So, I know the leaders in that change room have got a big job to do this season in terms of trying to help everyone as a club, and even Diogo's family through this massively difficult moment. And it won't get easier, but maybe we can numb the pain a little bit as time goes on, and it's up to us leaders to try and guide us through that.
You've obviously had a stellar career, won just about everything. How much would getting to a World Cup as Scotland captain feel like you just kind of topped everything off?
Yeah, obviously I'm 31 now. I'm not getting any younger. You don't know where your career's going to go, so I'm looking at this one. Hopefully it's not my last, but potentially, obviously the next World Cup campaign I'll be 36. I've got no doubt that all of you have written me off by that point, and probably other people will have written me off as well. But obviously I've been through World Cup campaigns already, and I've came close, and I've not quite managed it. And if I look back on my career, I've achieved a hell of a lot of stuff that I'm really proud of. But it's one thing that's clearly missing, and it would be amazing to do that. Obviously, I'm in an era that, you know, I remember the 1998 World Cup briefly. I was only four and a bit, and you know, that was obviously the last time we were there, and it's something that we want to provide for the Tartan Army. We want to provide for ourselves. We want to be involved in it because it's the pinnacle of your career, and you know, we've obviously got another chance to now do that, and you know, if we can do it, then you know, there won't be anyone more prouder and more excited for a World Cup than me.
Andy Kieran's obviously had to pull out of the squad. He's been an important player for Scotland at times. Are you hopeful that he'll come back? And he's obviously been struggling for 90 minutes this season so far. Is he still a player with a big future for Scotland?
Yeah, 100%. KT's a fantastic player, fantastic character in the change room as well. And I think it was just, you know, it was just unfortunate. You know, he's obviously shown up to camp. He's had to scan, and unfortunately the scan had ruled him out both games, which is hugely disappointing first and foremost for him, but for us as well. You know, he's a fantastic player. You know, like I said, a fantastic person as well, which has really grown into the squad. He obviously came in really young and took time to find his feet, and now he's really grown to, you know, a massive member of our team. So it's great to see him back at Celtic. It's great to seeing him playing week in, week out, and I think now the next step for KT is just to try and, you know, play 90 minutes, and he knows that, but I think they're getting closer to that in terms of every game he's probably playing a bit more and more minutes. And look, I think this one, as far as I'm aware, is a contact injury, so it's not as if he's had a knockback in any terms of that. So it's a contact injury which can happen to any of us, especially he's been in Kazakhstan, he's then played an Old Firm game, which we know how, you know, tasty day games can be, and yeah, it's just unfortunate timing for us, but you know, I don't think it will set back KT too long, and you know, hopefully come October he'll be back in the Scotland jersey.
And you talk about this potentially being, or the guys getting older on the squad, potentially this could be the manager's last campaign, you know, the way things are going for him. Can you talk to us a little bit about the job he's done in the time that he's been the manager? And I'm wondering if that gives you guys extra motivation that potentially this could be Steve's last campaign.
Yeah, I think, yeah, look, as it stands, it is because of, you know, obviously contract situation, and you know, obviously we don't know our situation because it depends on how we're still performing at 36, 37. But you know, obviously his is a contract, and whatever happens in the future we don't know. But he's been unbelievable. He's been unbelievable for Scotland. He's helped us massively to achieve our dreams, because when he took over, we hadn't been to a tournament since 1998. Never mind, you know, a World Cup. It was, you know, we hadn't never been to Euros, and now we've been to two. We've gained experience of that. We've had so many highs. Okay, we've had some lows, but I think that's part and parcel of it. So without him, none of that would have been possible. We wouldn't have been able to achieve our dreams of playing at a major tournament with the country. And you know, I'm obviously, you know, I'll be forever grateful for him. When I was captain obviously before he came in, but he's really helped me, you know, be able to achieve the dream of being captain at you know, a major tournament, and also captain my country in massive games, you know, and even qualifying campaigns, and being able to achieve good results. So he's been great, and you know, if it is his last World Cup campaign, then of course it's extra motivation for us. And if it is going to be, you know, some of the mainstays are getting a bit older, and if it's going to be our last World Cup campaign, then you know, there's motivation as well. But I think when you cross the white lines, it's just the motivation of getting to World Cup's enough, and I think we're just excited and ambitious to try and get to a World Cup as a collective, and I think that's motivation enough.
As you're sitting here right now, Andy, what is it that gives you the main confidence that we can actually do it, you guys can do it?
I just believe we've got a lot of quality within the squad. First of all, I look at the squad on paper when it comes out. You look at it and you look at the teams next to the names, and you know, we've got so many players playing at such a good level. And then it's all about, because that's one thing, and then the next thing is bringing it all together and trying to play together as a team. And I think we've shown that at times, that we can be a fantastic team when we do the right things, and we do the basics, and we do it properly. And I think more often than not we've done that. So I believe if we do that, then we can cause any team problems. Now, whether it's enough to win the group is yet to be seen. Whether it's enough to finish second, like I said, for a playoff is yet to be seen. But we do believe that going into all these games, we've got a chance to win. And if we don't win, we've got a chance to draw. And that is what you need going into these campaigns. And if we can do that, then let's see where we are mid-November when the campaign's over, and see where we're sat in that table. And, you know, hopefully we've either qualified, or hopefully we've still got a chance to qualify.
And Andy, the manager's not been able to call upon Ben as often as he would have liked, but we've got him now, and he's now got the move to Bournemouth. He's a player you know very well, see them at close proximity. Do you think he could be the X factor that we've maybe been needing to get to a World Cup?
No, because I don't want to put pressure on him. I think I've watched Oki grow from a boy. I wouldn't quite say he's a man yet, but he's certainly on his way. But no, look, he came to Liverpool really, really young. I've seen him grow as a player in particular. He's matured a lot. When he first came, he was just head down, dribble, sometimes give it away, sometimes be successful. Now he's getting a lot better at when to pass, when to dribble, when to take your man on, when to, maybe use your full back or whatever. So I think he's slowly but surely getting to become the full package, and I think his move to Bournemouth will help that. Hopefully he gets regular game time at a really good club, which is doing really well, and I'm quite happy that I can pass my guidance now on to Ryan Christie, and he can look after him. But he's a fantastic player, Doki. I love him. I love watching him. He's one of the players that gets the fans off their seat. He's exciting, and it's great to have him in the squad. It's great to have his ability and his technique and everything, his excitement for the game in the squad, and hopefully he can play a big part. But like I said, I don't want to put too much pressure on him.
Thank you. Thanks, folks.
Thanks.
Cheers. Translation? No. Good.
No, good. Steve, just how much are the whole squad looking forward to the start of a World Cup qualifying campaign?
Well, if the training this week's any guide, then yeah, they're looking forward to it very much. Training's been good, sharp, very focused. So no, we look forward to it.
What gives you the confidence that Scotland can qualify this time?
I think with previous couple of qualifying campaigns, we've shown that we can come out the group stages, be that to the playoff or direct as we did the last time to get to Germany. We've shown that we can handle the pressure of the group stages, and hopefully that's what we aim to do this time again.
Is there any extra motivation for you because you've done the Euros? It's a case of trying to get to the World Cup, and as things stand, this is your last campaign.
No, nothing extra. My job is to try and give the boys the best possible chance to get there. So I'll just concentrate on going from game to game, and hopefully when we get to the end of the group stages, we've got enough points to go to the World Cup.
How tough a start will this one be?
Yeah, it's tough. 2 difficult away games. Obviously coming here, we were here last World Cup qualifying. We know it's a tough place to come. They always play well at home, the Danish team. Very aggressive, get after you. So we know we have to defend well, but we also know we have to play well. When we have the ball, we have to play, we have to try and create chances, and hopefully we can come away with a nice positive result to start the campaign.
We're speaking to Andy Robertson there. Obviously it's a truncated qualification process, it's very quick. Do you feel, given that then, there's no real margin for error, or will it be a group where everyone will take points off everyone else?
I think it could be a very competitive group, but listen, that's trying to look into the future. You don't know. All we can do is concentrate on making sure that we're ready for every single game as we approach them, get the approach right, and go to the games, give everything we've got, and hopefully get the points tally that takes us to America.
Couple of injuries, how big a blow is that not having Kieran and Anthony Ralston here?
Yeah, always disappointing. Listen, you pick your squad, you know that, I think I've learned over the last 6 and a bit years that you're always going to lose 1 or 2, so to lose 2 fullbacks was disappointing, but we have enough cover in the squad.
Does that have an impact on how you think about setting up? I know you've switched between different formations. Does that change or impact that in any way?
No, it doesn't, because if you look at the squad that I picked, there's plenty of defensive cover there.
We obviously qualified for the Euros, Steve. I just wonder, when you started at the beginning of that campaign, do you have the same feeling this time round with the players you have and the environment you've got, that this can be a special one?
Well, I've got a lot of the same players. And I've also freshened up with some younger ones. The younger ones always come in and lift the mood around the place. The more senior players enjoy it when they get challenged a little bit for their places. So, no, the group's in a good place.
I just wondered if you were to compare the groups to the sort of evolution that the squad is at now. You have likes of Ben Doken there. Do you see that? How do you compare the Euros squad that made it to this one?
Probably similar, and the younger ones were coming through at that time. Your Gilmores, your Pattersons, Hickey, they were coming through. Ferguson's, obviously Lewis missed out with the injury, but that was your little young group that was coming through. They're now in the squad, a little bit more established, so hopefully the young group that I've got just now can learn and be a big part of the squad moving forward.
In terms of goalkeeper, Steve, is that a big decision? Sorry,
couldn't see you.
Sorry, with the goalkeeping situation, is that a big decision you've got to make? And if so, what's going to influence it in terms of guys that are not playing very much?
I just watch them in training. I'll be guided by Chris. Chris was my goalkeeping coach. We know what they can all do. That's the 3 goalkeepers that took to the Euros, so we've worked very closely over a number of matches and a number of international camps. So I'm pretty clear what I'm going to do with the goalkeepers.
We spoke to you before about your own kind of situation. I think you said previously that you were kind of 75% certain that this was going to be your last campaign. Is that still the case, or have you had conversations about this is going to be the last campaign?
I haven't thought about it myself. I'm only concentrating on making sure that the boys are as well prepared as they can be, and then we'll see what happens after the campaign.
Some of the players, Steve, have said some nice things about this, about the fact that all the work that they've done with you over these years, and the fact that if this is the last one, they want to do it for you. Is that quite a touching thing to hear the players saying that, or are you too?
It's nice to be liked. That's not always the case in this job, eh? Sometimes it doesn't feel like that. No, listen, I've got a great relationship with my players, especially the players that have been with me for the whole campaign, or the whole of my campaign, just over 6 years now. So I've got a good relationship with them all. I think we've worked really hard at building a good spirit among ourselves. We're very determined to be successful again for the country in this tournament, and hopefully we can do that.
What they've also mentioned is because of the different sort of condensed nature of this qualifying campaign, they need to get off to a good start. They need to come out the traps, and they were expecting, I think, to hear you kind of stating that quite clearly to them over the build up to this game. Does it feel different because it is over the course of 3 double headers, just a couple of months?
Not really, to be honest, because you have to start well anyway. You always have to get as many points as you can, but it's not to say that you can't have a slow start and still qualify. I think we had a slow start for come back. Not the last campaign, the campaign before, where we had a slow start and we still managed to come through at the end of it. So we'll just do what we can, and like I say, you always try to keep the big picture is at the end of November. How many points have we got, and is that enough to take us to the World Cup?
Obviously, you want to win tomorrow night, Steve. But I mean,
that would be nice.
Yeah, but as a point, I think a point would be regarded as a really solid result and start, given it's here.
I think over the 2 games we play to win both games, and then we see what we get. I don't think we're going to come here and set up for a draw, because I think if you do that and you encourage the Danish team to come at you like they did 3 years ago now, when we were here last, it can be a very long night, because they're a team that asks you to defend a lot, the team that want to put the ball in the box, and they're a team with top quality players. So if we sit back and try to think that we're going to come here and nick a draw, I think that would be a foolish thing to do.
I mean, one of the strongest performances of your time was probably the home victory over Denmark. Do you draw on that at all, or mention that at all to the players?
No, I think we just mentioned the fact that when we've been away from home recently, we've always been very competitive. We haven't won all the games, but we've had some decent away results. We've shown that we can travel and be a force, and that's what we aim to do.
And obviously you lost Kieran, but I mean, does that clarify the defensive shape or the selection at the back at all?
It was clear in my head before I got to the camp.
It was a torrid night here last time you were here, Steve, in the opening 15 minutes. I think we're 2-0 down. But do recent wins in places like Warsaw and Athens gives you hope that something special can happen here tomorrow night?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Our recent away performances have been decent. Even going away to Portugal, we lost a goal in the last minute to lose that one. The game against Spain in Seville, we were right in the game up until the very end. So we know if we get our performance right, that we can come here and be very competitive.
You mentioned at the start, Steve, about the players, how they've been training this week. Does that give you any sense of how they are going to play? I mean, do you sense that they're up for it essentially?
Well, they're definitely up for it. I think over my years, my experience in football is sometimes not to read too much, because sometimes the team's flying during the week and then they forget to turn up at the weekend. So I think you expect them to be as excited as they are about the campaign. You expect them to come in and train and work as hard as they can, because it's not every year. I'm going to say every year. It's not every year, but it takes a long time to get to a World Cup qualifying campaign. It seems a hell of a long time since we lost that playoff game to Ukraine. So all the boys that were here remember that night, and they want to make amends for that.
I'd imagine though it's better to see them like you've seen them this week than the opposite, you know.
I've seen them be pretty rubbish in training and turn up and play all right. So, like I say, sometimes you try to read too much into everything. It's better just to try and keep the middle ground.
I was going to ask you as well about young Doak. Does that give you a different dimension to the team in terms of what he gives you? You kind of missed him when he wasn't there.
Immediately, he gives you a different dimension, because he's quick, direct, and likes to get at the opposition. So that's the type of player that we've maybe been missing a little bit, and we certainly missed Ben when he was out injured. It's nice to have him back, and hopefully he can have a big impact over the next 6 games.
Steve, you mentioned the goalkeeper issue earlier. How important is it for a goalkeeper to be playing regularly? Only one of the 3 in the squad is doing that just now.
Obviously it's helpful if you're playing week in, week out at your club and you're playing well. So we haven't got everybody playing at the moment. It's not such a big issue, because they'll have had minutes pre-season. They've all had minutes over the course of pre-season, so it's not such a big issue in this camp, but maybe later in the year as they don't play. It's also one of the positions that is very particular, because only one plays, there's only one goalkeeper. They're very used to being the number 2 at certain stages of their career, so they know that they have to work hard, train well, and be ready for the opportunity if they're given that.
Cheers, folks. Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Sorry, we're late again. Always late. Late again.